With the Produce 101 and 48 series being wildly successful in Korea and coming from J-pop's AKB48, one question I always wondered was, would Korea ever welcome an AKB48 group? Now, the AKB48 group is well known among J-pop fans. Founded in 2005, the AKB group is a series of groups that are all spanned around Japan as well as various Asian countries. They perform in their own concert halls called theaters, and the most popular branch is, of course, AKB48, which was the very first AKB group formed back in 2005. There's other groups in Japan such as SKE48 in Nagoya, NMB48 in Namba, Osaka, and HKT48 in Fukuoka. They're also known as sister groups of AKB48 and managed under the label AKS. The popularity of the AKB48 brand was apparent, even outside Japan, when Yasushi Akimoto, or Aki P for short, the producer and creator of the AKB48 franchise, wanted to expand the brand outside Japan. He would gauge if other Asian countries would be interested in having an AKB48 group. Aki P would soon find an interested Asian country. Jakarta would feature the first AKB group outside Japan, JKT48, in 2011. In just 6 years since the first AKB group launched, AKB48 back in 2005, the AKB brand would expand through Asia like wildfire. China, Taiwan, India, Thailand, Indonesia, and the Philippines would all be interested, as they would have their own AKB groups in their country. In addition, each sister group based overseas adheres to that country's own culture. For example, for Indonesia's JKT48, since the country is majority Muslim, this group's idols cover up more and are less revealing than their Japanese counterparts. As you can see in their version of Everyday Katyusha, they're not wearing swimsuits, they're more covered up. JKT48 also observes local holidays such as Ramadan and does not perform during that period. As of 2020, there are 16 AKB48 groups in total, where the branches are usually named either after the city or a city's famous district and given a 3-letter acronym plus 48. The group is known for their school uniform attire, and the girls' average age range anywhere from 12 to 25. Before going further, I'd like to add that this is only a brief guide to understanding the basics of AKB48, as brief as a 22+ minute video is. If this video was solely focused on AKB48, it would probably be 3 times as long. So with that being said, let's move on. One of the most notable Asian countries that the AKB48 brand never attempted is the land of K-pop, Korea. By the time the AKB48 brand expanded overseas in 2011, K-pop was exploding throughout Asia and making inroads in the West. Groups such as Big Bang, 21, Sonushide, 4 Minute, and Infinite were just a few of the groups dominating K-pop in 2011. Korea and K-pop didn't need AKB48, and they sure didn't want competition within their own country with an idol giant like Aki P's AKB48 brand. While East and Southeast Asia were experiencing the AKB craze, Korea said no thanks. Yet, by 2016, K-pop wanted to re-energize music reality shows. They would turn to the AKB48 template to launch the highly successful Produce 101 series, Season 1, that year. The concepts as center, the A to E ranking system, and the iconic pyramid scheme would soon enter K-pop lexicon. With the AKB48 system introduced to the Korean public on a hit show, perhaps K-pop land would be more receptive to the AKB brand. So now the big question of this video: would Korea ever welcome an AKB48 group? It's not impossible, but I highly doubt it. I have a lot of doubts. So I'm gonna say no, I don't think Korea would welcome an AKB48 branch, and here's why. To understand why I say AKB48 most likely won't be successful, we have to break down the AKB48 system and J-pop idol life. Then we can compare it to K-pop and Korean fans' expectations. With rumors here and there of a possible AKB group in Korea in the 2020s, it's a good time, if any, to see if the viability of this actually works. Because as cool as having an SOL48 for Seoul or a BSA48 for Busan would be, I have serious concerns. So let's delve in. When deciding suitable places for AKB groups, the most important factors are population and distance between other large cities. Population because it represents more potential customers, better transportation, and many big businesses reside in metropolitans. Distance is a bit harder to understand at first, but much like sports, you don't want AKB teams too close to one another, because if they're too close, those cities will be competing for fans in the same region. With all that being said, the two obvious cities are Seoul, with just over 9.9 million people, and Korea's capital, as well as Busan, with 3.4 million people. Both cities are on opposite sides of the country and would provide enough distance to warrant an AKB group. But what about other potential cities? Cities with over 1 million population would provide a good measuring stick. So if we use that, it would leave Incheon, Daegu, Daejeon, Gwangju, Suwon, Ulsan, Changwon, and Goyang. But as it stands right now, Korea doesn't have ample room for AKB expansion. So let's move on to my first concern. AKB48's training system won't mesh well with K-pop fans. Now I'm gonna take this direct quote and steal it from one of my commenters. My man or woman, JSprite123. Now JSprite says, with J-pop, I want to be the fastest, shiniest horse out of the gate right now. And with K-pop, I want to watch this little pony grow up to be the fastest, shiniest horse it can be. Well said, JSprite, well said. And this quote sums up the AKB training system and how J-pop and K-pop training are vastly different. Now I know I talked about the AKB system a bit before in my other Japanese music videos, but we'll still do a recap on the AKB48 and the J-Idol training system. So with K-pop, trainees usually spend anywhere from 2 to 6 years training before their big debut. In other words, they just don't get sent out to the fire. While training, these trainees are expected to learn singing, choreography, another language, how to talk to the media, and how to interact with fans, among many other skills. K-pop labels are stern with training and won't debut a group until they're ready. So by the time that these trainees debut, these now-fledged K-pop rookies looked polished and well-trained, with slick dance moves and catchy tunes. The downside of all this training is that K-pop groups are expected to produce sales right away, and K-pop fans are pretty impatient and they want to see polished singers singing some mesmerizing songs and doing some fancy dance moves out of the gate. K-pop really does resemble the quote, I want the fastest, shiniest horse now. On the other hand, with J-pop, trainees are thrown directly into the fire. Unlike K-pop trainees, J-pop trainees debut right away with little to no training. Not to mention that J-pop idols actually debut a bit younger, with many AKB48 idols joining around 12 to 14 years old. And while yes, K-pop idols also join their labels young, they have several years to train before they debut. So from all this, the result is that Japanese idols' first few songs are often below average. But over time, these idols start to improve their singing, dancing, and stage presence. To these fans, they see their idols grow alongside their career. By their third or fourth year, these idols start to resemble polished professional idols, capable of holding their own and selling an ample amount of albums. J-pop really does resemble the quote, I want to grow my horse, and I'm going to take my time doing so. Now another point is that there's too many members in an AKB48 group. Now just the number 48 in the name is actually misleading, as each group actually has anywhere from 40 to 120 members. The actual origins of the name 48 actually comes from the president's office, Office 48. And since we just mentioned that each 48 group has anywhere from 40 to 120 members, how the heck do you make a song with that many members? Not even K-pop is that crazy to have, say, 40 members in a single group. To combat this, has a set number of smaller teams. And by smaller, I mean these teams are usually still about 15 to 20 people strong. So let's use AKB48's branch from Akihabara as an example. They have 5 teams, Team A, Team K, Team B, Team 4, and Team 8, representing the full acronym of AKB48. With the 5 teams each having an average of 15 to 25 members total, you get about 100 or so members for the entire AKB48 group. Other AKB48 groups such as SKE48 and NMB48 have their own smaller teams within the whole group as well. So going back to AKB48, with 100 members, that sounds more like an army than a group. Let's just go with them having 100 members in total. Each group also has a center, a lead that's literally in the center of a song performance or music video. The center is chosen using a Zanbatsu election, an event where fans vote for their favorite 80 idols from all of the AKB groups in Japan. They're split into 5 groups of 16 each: Zanbatsu, Undergirls, Next Girls, Future Girls, and Upcoming Girls, similar to the A through E teams on Produce 101 and 48. Each of the 5 groups have their own center, and the center, as you can imagine, gets the most exposure, performs out in the front center, and is seen as the most popular performer during a particular time. There's also another special position called an ace, which is known to be as the most talented or interesting idol. An ace is chosen by management, and the ace can also be eligible for the center position. If you're a K-pop fan, you might know one already. Former SKE48 and Produce 48 contestant Matsui Jurina is one such ace. With all that explanation out of the way, here comes my concerns. The problem with having a Seoul or Busan branch is that these groups are simply too large, even for K-pop standards. While K-pop has 17, EXO, and Super Junior, which all of these groups had over 10 members during their founding, it takes a lot of time for K-pop fans to invest in a large number of idols in a group. Imagine if an SOL48 in Seoul had 5 teams with 20 members each, equaling 100 members total. That's way too much for K-pop fans to keep track of 100 members. Heck, many AKB48 fans have a hard time keeping track of all the members, with many fans just knowing the center, the ace, and maybe a couple of their favorite bias. Only the truly hardcore fans know most, if not all 100 members of an AKB48 group. By contrast, K-pop fans like to know their idols very well and know every single detail. So good luck trying to do that with 100 plus members, which leads to my next point. This is probably one of the biggest reasons, the graduation system. The AKB48 model is based off this system. The system revolves around members coming and going on a regular basis. So unlike a regular K-pop group, which always has the same members, AKB's members can be different the following year. If modern K-pop history has shown us, having a graduation system already presents problems to K-pop fans. In short, K-pop fans hate the graduation system. Let's take Super Junior for example. Super Junior debuted back in 2005 and was a collection of trainees that SM Entertainment didn't know where to place. The original plan for Super Junior was to have the group rotate each year, aka a graduation system. This was inspired by J-pop group Morning Musume, a big idol group founded in 1998 that popularized the graduation system. Morning Musume would later inspire 2005's AKB system. Using the graduation system with Super Junior, they would be a graduating group each year. They would be named Super Junior 05, Super Junior 06, Super Junior 07, and so forth. During the year that the members were in a group, they would be trained in all things entertainment, such as singing, dancing, acting, advertising, TV hosting, MCing, and so on. So when Super Junior members did graduate, they would be well-rounded in the entertainment scene and have an easier time furthering their career. The intention of the graduation system was supposed to add fresh new blood to their group, giving fans new idols to love, while giving members the option of leaving the group after a year to pursue other endeavors, giving idols freedom in their career. It was supposed to be a win-win situation for both the fans and group members. Yet a funny thing happened with the first class, Super Junior 05. Super Junior fans, called Elves, really liked the group. They liked them so much that they petitioned SM Entertainment not to disband them and to get rid of this very graduation concept that the group was founded on. SM, knowing they had a wildly successful group in their hands, changed course 180, ditched the graduation system, and made them a regular group. From there, Super Junior became highly successful, hitting their peak in the late 2000s and being dubbed the king of the Hallyu wave in Asia. Other K-pop groups that had a graduation system didn't fare too well. After School, 9 Muses, NCT Dream, as well as the Produce 101 and 48 groups all have the system in place. Yet if we take the examples of After School and 9 Muses, when members rotated or left those groups started to decline. As for NCT Dream, SM Entertainment abolished the graduation system in 2020 and made it a more fixed group. As for the Produce groups, they were wildly successful. So successful, like Super Junior, that fans pleaded with Mnet not to disband the groups and have them perform indefinitely. The major reason why graduation groups don't work in K-pop is they rob K-pop fans of familiar, constant faces in a group. K-pop fans don't want to constantly relearn new idols after graduation. They would rather learn about the same group of idols and want to follow this group's journey over time. K-pop fans like stability when it comes to their group. So when you take all of these away via constant graduations, they start to resent the group and their label, and they will move on to standing another group. As of 2020, K-pop labels won't be creating any new graduation-based groups. A smart move, given its lack of success in K-pop history so far. In the weirdest way to decide an AKB48 member's career is the Rock-Paper-Scissor tournament, better known in Japan as Jankan Taikai. While in the past, this tournament was used to decide who would be the center for the next prestigious AKB48 single, these days it's used to decide which AKB48 unit, where a unit makes up anywhere, usually from 1 to 5 people, gets their next song and music video. Now make no mistake, while this Rock-Paper-Scissor tournament looks quite silly, it is definitely hyped up. These tournaments are made up of an actual referee, a stage, and the AKB members sometimes wear their own custom costumes when competing. It's still quite a big event in the AKB fandom. Take a look.
Ready?
While the Jankan tournament is popular with Japanese fans as it adds a luck element into the AKB system, and this game being popular in Japanese society, I don't see this going well in Korea. This will instantly be weird to K-pop fans that expect idols to earn their positions through a combination of singing, dancing, and stage presence. So to have a major decision where the winners get an upcoming single by relying on a rock-paper-scissor tournament will rub a lot of K-pop fans the wrong way. Now so far, I've just been listing my concerns about the AKB48 system and why it might not work in Korea, but here's one positive. Idol friendliness. The AKB48 motto for the longest time was idols you can meet, but these days they updated the motto as of 2018 to mean idols that will come to meet you. And this motto already differs from K-pop idols, where K-pop idols have a lot of security and are kept at arm's length from the fans, and understandably so. But with J-pop, fans are allowed to get a lot closer. J-pop idols are all about being as accessible as possible, despite their celebrity status. Whereas in K-pop, idols are put on this pedestal and pretty much just idolized, as their name implies. J-pop idols are more seen as down to earth, the girl next door concept. Meet and greets are also very common in AKB groups, as fans usually hold an idol's hand while talking to them for a minute or so. Take a look. Pictures you take, they're always at the same angle.
Yeah.
Why?
Because
They're always like...
then I will try to take with another.
Now this hand-holding for a long time may just feel weird to some K-pop and even Western fans, and I get it. Yet this close fan interaction is what makes J-pop idols appealing to fans. The fan service is real in the J-idol scene, and perhaps the most important factor for AKB48 idol. This can also be a strong appeal to K-pop fans if AKB meet and greets were frequent. While K-pop already has fan meetings, they're largely just an audience asking idols questions, but the audience is kept a large distance from the idols. K-pop also has fan signings as well, but it's just really signing a CD and moving along. And with both K-pop fan meetings and fan signings, both of them really don't happen as often as AKB ones. Now there is one problem of adapting this AKB48 meet and greet model to K-pop fans, and that's you'll need a lot more security to fend off any weird or aggressive fans. Because if there's one thing that K-pop fans know, is they know that there's a lot of sasang fans, or wild, crazy, overly obsessed fans that will do pretty much anything to their idol. It really takes a combination of tight security as well as fans behaving themselves to pull this off. Now AKB48's music also lacks appeal to K-pop fans, and I mentioned this point in some of my other J-pop related videos, so here goes again. K-pop fans really don't like the J-pop idol AKB48-ish sound. K-pop fans prefer, well, the K-pop sound, as well as Western styled music. When they see music videos like this, they automatically have stereotypes that all J-idol music and even J-pop itself sounds like this, and that doesn't resonate with them. The stereotype of J-pop idol music is real with K-pop fans, and is a very difficult obstacle to overcome. But it's not just a stereotype that a Korean AKB group needs to overcome. A Korean AKB group will need a constant flow of male fans to attend and support them. That is because unlike K-pop concerts for a particular group that happen maybe a couple months or sometimes yearly, with an AKB group, their live performances happen a lot more. They perform in their home theaters in their home city, where fans line up to see them. AKB48 groups in Japan get throngs of male fans that go to meet and greets, buy merch, and go to concerts. That's because the AKB groups are heavily catered towards male fans, as well as Japan having an accepting culture of AKB-like groups. In Korea, however, males are much more into gaming and esports events, as it's a huge gaming country. So while there are a lot of male K-pop fans, contrary to the stereotypes that K-pop is 99% female fans and 1% male fans, nearly all male fans are considered outsider or screen fans, meaning that they may buy their music online and watch a music show every once in a while on a screen. They'll rarely actually go to live fan meets or concerts. The few live events that they go to would probably end up being Twice, G-Friend, and Sonushide back in the day, groups with a larger male fan base. And with boy groups, forget it. Live events are filled with nearly all females. When I covered K-pop concerts in Seoul, I usually saw a 90% female to 10% male ratio, and those 10% males were usually there with their girlfriends. Another major problem are the demographics of an AKB48 group. And to show a stark difference, let's take K-pop's TWICE and J-pop's AKB48 for example. Even though both are idol pop with incredible popularity, the demographics between the two couldn't be any more different. The majority of TWICE's demographics for age lie under 10s with 30% and their 20s with 32%. TWICE also has an ample older demographic with 30 and 40-year-olds with 15% and 19% respectively. 50-year-olds also make up 4%. The group also has a 59% male to 41% female fan ratio, and this is quite normal as bubblegum pop groups are usually liked a lot more by the younger generation, with some of them having a lot more male fans. With AKB48's age demographics, it's quite the opposite. Only 4% of AKB48 fans are in their 10s and 13% in their 20s. In fact, the AKB fandom scales as the age range gets older. A majority of the AKB48 fans lie in their 30s to 50s, with 22% in their 30s, 25% in their 40s, and 21% in their 50s. Heck, even 15% of AKB fans are in their 60s. And perhaps the biggest point of all, AKB fans are primarily male salarymen in their 30s to 50s. From a business standpoint, there is a big advantage to having an older audience. Namely, they have a lot more disposable income and spend a lot on their idols. Regardless, from looking at TWICE, the AKB48 stats, it will take a major shift for male K-pop fans to support a Seoul-based AKB group. AKB has a lot of older fans, and this is no accident. Many members joined the group early, some as early as 12 to 14 years old, and since they don't have a training period, they debut shortly after joining at a young age. Now there's many reasons why fans like AKB48. For the 20 and 30-year-old females, they like their youth, how free-spirited they are, and admire the girls for shooting for their dreams. College guys in their 20s like them because they're happy, approachable, and heck, cute ladies are giving them attention. Yet perhaps the biggest audience is those older salarymen that we mentioned earlier. A lot of these salarymen, from their point of view, are lonely, overworked workers. When they leave work, they want to feel appreciated and just be valued by someone. This is even more so if a salaryman is single and has no family nearby. So the image of a younger lady from AKB48 giving him attention is very appealing. Looking at AKB48's national anthem and perhaps most popular song, Heavy Rotation, reinforces this image with lyrics such as I want you, I need you, I love you. This way of thinking, however, won't fly in Korea. While yes, K-pop also debuts many of their female idols young, when you add their training time, they debut a couple years later when they're a bit older. So to have very young J-idols debut as early as 12 to 14 years old, and I don't think many Korean K-pop fans, and heck, even international K-pop fans, will be down with this. Now I have to bring up ONE, the mixed Korean and Japanese group, which was created from Produce 48. ONE has 3 AKB48 group members, AKB48's Hitomi Honda, and HKT48's Nako Yobuki and Sakura Miyawaki. The group has been a smash hit in Korea as they're an album selling machine. Their June 2020 album, Oniric Diary, sold over 389,000 copies in its opening week, shattering the record for most albums for female groups on opening week. And yes, that does include the current nation's girl group TWICE. And speaking of TWICE, the group ranks just behind TWICE in total sales and considered by many the second most popular female group in the country today. Thus, one can see that ONE is a huge deal in the K-pop scene. So why did I bring up ONE? Because ONE is coming from a show that prides itself on the graduation system, and thus the group is planned to be temporary from its very creation, with the group's expiration date in 2021. ONE disbanding would leave an opening for a possible AKB48 group. Yet there's two concerns. One, even though ONE has undeniable AKB48 influence and Japanese members, it's a K-pop group through and through. And two, K-pop fans are clamoring to ditch the graduation system and keep them around past 2021. We'll see if fans get their wish and ONE stays as a group in the following year. Not to mention, JYP also threw his ring in the hat with his new group NiziU. And while NiziU will be stationed in Japan as a J-pop group, make no mistake, JYP is marketing them as a global group, and you can expect them to compete in the Korean market soon. So you have further competition if ONE stays around, and if NiziU comes to Korea, that there might not be a need for an AKB48 group in Korea. So thank you for watching this video, and I'd love to know your comments in the comments below. And as always, if you guys want real talk, no BS fluff on how the K-pop industry really works, then please download my free ebook below. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy, guys.